Is it possible that you can have a foal that's born at birth with perfectly straight legs and a couple of months later out in the paddock we see issues start to evolve?
Yes, it is, unfortunately, and there's a number of reasons for that. Some of them, it's to do with growth, or they may be injured, or who knows, genetics. We don't, there's a lot of them that just pair overnight. I think there are, for those sorts of horses, it's just constant monitoring really. And my own personal belief is that a lot of the pastures, that particularly in this local area, are extremely good, and often they just grow like, mushrooms basically, and it becomes very difficult to manage them. And once they get to a certain point, and over a certain point in angle, that the loading is what does it, and that pushes them further. There is another critical time through weanlings going onto yearlings. We see frequently a problem that arises as the spring grass starts to grow. And in this area we get a lot of horses that will actually buckle out and push their knees out in that sort of late October, November, December period, when they start to really grow again, because of, I guess it's because of high protein and high growth rates in the grass. And some of these foals, yearlings, can buckle and bend their legs in a matter of a week, and you think you've got a perfectly good specimen. Next thing, it's pushing both knees out. So, I think vigilance is important right through the whole process, from the time they're born, until they really start to settle down and then stop growing. Just going back to those valgus knees, there's been a lot of things that have been done over the years to manage them beyond dealing with confinement and changing their loading. There are surgeries that are done, and I think that many people will have heard of P-strips and things like that have been done over the years to try and allow that growth plate to catch up on the other side that's slower. We've also used screws and wires and things to try and surgically slow down the side that's growing too fast. All that stuff takes a lot of management. It's expensive. If you can do it without that, it's good as well. So people that are onto it get onto them early and often never get to the point of needing surgery. There are other things that have been used over the years as well, and more recently we've been using shockwave therapy on growth plates as well, with encouraging results.
Can you explain what you mean by the foal's growth plate?
Every young animal, the long bones grow from a point near the end of the bone. It's an area of tissue that has a rapidly dividing number of cells, and that's where they lengthen from. And basically a foal's leg will wobble as it grows, or so will a young person, a young human or a calf or whatever. And quite often that area is quite a soft area of the body, and it's basically just developing new bone, which is stacking itself and lengthening out as the foal gets older.
In your opinion, if foals are looked at early at birth and monitored through that early growth period in their life and managed well, can a lot of this be prevented?
Absolutely, and I don't think that, none of us wish to be doing surgeries on them, and I think that many of the ones that were done are the real tip of the iceberg as far as the surgeries are concerned. If there's good management and early recognition of any problem with an angular limb deformity in a young horse, you've got a much better chance of doing a good job and correcting it by just management of the horse rather than having to resort to surgery. So yeah, that's a very important part of getting a good result in your horse as it grows.